Hello and welcome back to the MMA Bar. Today we're going to discuss the recently concluded UFC 277 event, results from its action-packed main card, and highlights that'll help re-experience the moment and keep you updated. UFC 277 went down on Saturday, July 30th, 2022 in Dallas, Texas, featuring not one, but two title fights. In the main event of the evening, Amanda the Lioness Nunes dominated Julianna the Venezuelan vixen Pena for 5 rounds to win back the women's Bantamweight belt. In the co-headlining act, Moreno stopped Kai Kara-France in the 3rd round to win the interim Flyweight strap, securing a potential 4th title fight against current division kingpin Deiveson Figueiredo. Although the card didn't feature many big names as compared to other PPV cards, it was not one to be slept on. The main event was the biggest and most anticipated rematch in UFC women's MMA history. Late last year, Amanda Nunes, who is widely regarded as the greatest women's MMA fighter, lost her Bantam title to the fearless Julianna Pena. Pena had gone into the first fight not scared of Nunes. She jabbed her opponent, and when the fight got to the ground, she had her submitted by a rear naked choke. Nunes had stated that she wasn't fully healthy for the first encounter due to COVID. She also mentioned her former gym as part of the reasons for the loss. She then moved away and created her own gym. This rematch was to answer all those doubts and find out if the Lioness truly had an off night or if the Venezuelan vixen was simply better. The co-main event was also a rematch, but this time for an interim title. Former undisputed flyweight champion Brandon the Assassin Baby Moreno took on Kai Kara-France for the interim lightweight championship. The pair had met a few years back when Moreno won in what was a very entertaining fight. This time, Kai, who is teammates with Israel Adesanya and Alexander Volkanovski, looked to get back the first loss against Moreno and bring a 3rd UFC belt back to city kickboxing. The other bouts featured on the main card are Derek Lewis vs Sergey Pavlovich, Alessandro Pantoja vs Alex Perez, and Magomed Ankalaev vs Anthony Smith. Without further ado, let's get into the main card of the event. It was opened by Anthony Smith vs Magomed Ankalaev, and this fight was just starting to get interesting when it ended. The fighters didn't do much in the first round. The two traded some kicks and Ankalaev let off 1 or 2 slick counter combinations. Smith's corner revealed the game plan, which was to analyze the Dagestani in the first round, then turn up the heat in the second. Unfortunately for Team Lionheart, Smith somehow injured his leg in the first, either from an Ankalaev check or from taking calf kicks. Either way, Smith tried to throw some big punches to start the second, and he landed. It was suddenly interesting. Sadly, Smith's wounded leg could barely hold him up, so he tried to wrestle and wound up on the bottom. Ankalaev eventually postured up and dropped some bombs, forcing a finish to a fight we didn't learn much in. This TKO victory over Anthony Smith was Ankalaev's 9th straight victory, and with it, Ankalaev is in the perfect spot to get the next shot at the strap. On the next fight of the main card, 4th-ranked Alessandro Pantoja took on 5th-ranked Alex Perez. With wins over both Brandon Moreno and Kai Kara-France, Pantoja was the dark horse of the division, and he proved it. Alex Perez is accustomed to walking opponents down and putting on the hurt, but Pantoja flipped the script by brawling forward immediately. Just as Perez thought he was in a slugfest, Pantoja tripped him to the canvas, jumped his back, and submitted him with a standing rear naked choke. Now that Moreno and Figueiredo are set to put an end to their rivalry inside the octagon, Pantoja should fight the winner after he earned his 3rd straight win following the first round destruction of Alex Perez in Dallas. The next fight of the night was one of the most anticipated, with Derek Lewis fighting Sergey Pavlovich in his hometown of Texas. Sergey Pavlovich needed just 55 seconds to finish Derek Lewis at UFC 277, but it appeared the referee may have pulled the trigger on a premature stoppage to end the fight. Despite facing one of the most dangerous knockout strikers in the history of the heavyweight division, Pavlovich showed no fear in coming out and engaging with Lewis right away. A right hand from Pavlovich tagged Lewis early, and the former title contender was immediately in trouble as he tried to recover. Pavlovich swarmed his opponent with a barrage of shots, with Lewis eventually falling to the canvas, with referee Dan Miragliata quickly jumping in to stop the bout. Lewis was back to his feet almost immediately as he complained about the stoppage, but it was already too late, as Pavlovich began celebrating his victory. Pavlovich said, "I was ready to punch him for 5 rounds, for 3 rounds, it doesn't matter. How do you like that boxing? I did my job. I'm very happy with my performance." Obviously, Pavlovich was just doing his job job, but this huge win will likely be marred by the controversial stoppage, with Lewis's home state crowd booing rather loudly after the matchup came to an end. Regardless of how it happened, Pavlovich has now notched his 4th win in a row overall, with all of his victories coming by way of knockout or TKO without a single opponent making it past the first round. The victory will also earn Pavlovich a higher ranking after taking out a veteran like Lewis, as he serves notice that a new contender has arrived in the heavyweight division. Finally, we got the title fights. The co-main event was an interim flyweight championship between the Mexican Brandon Moreno and the New Zealander Kai Kara-France. Brandon Moreno versus Kai Kara-France took a round to heat up, but it proved to be a very technical, entertaining contest. A left hand buzzed Kara-France a couple of times in the opening round, with Moreno tactically picking his shots on the feet. While it took a few minutes for him to get going, Kara-France eventually came firing back with a hard right hand of his own that got Moreno's attention. While it was a punch that landed early, Kara-France's best strikes were typically a variety of kicks he continuously threw at Moreno as he looked to chip away at the former flyweight champion. Still, Moreno was avoiding more kicks than he was taking as he consistently switched stances and then came back up top with blitzing combinations with his hands. As the flyweights battled for position in the third, Kara-France connected with a slashing elbow that opened a sizable cut under Moreno's right eye as blood began trickling down his face. Thankfully, the cut was in a spot where it wouldn't affect Moreno's vision, but that moment seemed to feed into Kara-France's confidence as he began letting go with his strikes. Kara-France was landing with better accuracy, but he was also getting more aggressive, and that gave Moreno more openings to fire back at him. That's when Moreno unleashed the kick to the body that just reverberated throughout the arena as Kara-France crumbled to the canvas. He followed up with punches to the already damaged Kai before the referee stopped the fight. Speaking on the liver kick, he said, "I love that liver kick. It's crazy how everything is in its place right now. I've been working those kicks all of this training camp. I've been working to become a complete mixed martial artist, and today I can grab this title again." Afterward, Moreno celebrated with the UFC belt back around his waist and an inevitable showdown against Figueiredo awaiting him. Coming here to this fight in fight week, I had a lot of feelings. I wanted to go against Deiveson Figueiredo and throw all my hate and all my fury. I then remembered my daughter is watching me at home in Vegas. I don't want to be the guy who is throwing shit to a guy in front of his daughter. I have a chance to be an example to my daughter. I don't hate you. I don't say nothing against you. Please forgive me if I did something against you, brother. I want to fight against you in December. Let's go in December. By that time, Figueiredo had made his way into the cage, and he ended up raising Moreno's hand to show him respect as the longtime rivals put bad feelings behind them as they prepared to clash again to determine the true UFC champion at 125 pounds. Figueiredo replied, "This guy right here, this is his night. He is a champion. I have a lot of respect for him. I want to take this fight to Brazil." Finally, it was time for the main event. The 5-round war between Amanda Nunes and Julianna Pena was one for the ages. Already considered the greatest female mixed martial artist of all time, Nunes avenged the lone blemish in her recent run on Saturday night by dismantling Julianna Pena over 5 rounds to earn back her Bantamweight title. The lioness took apart Pena with her speed and accuracy on the feet in the opening round before really putting on a clinic in the second. Nunes scored 3 knockdowns in round 2 as Pena continued to charge in wildly while Nunes planted counter right hands on her chin. The 3 knockdowns set a record for the most in a women's fight in UFC history. From there, Nunes took the battle to the ground as she opened up a huge gash on Pena's hairline in the 3rd round with an elbow from mount. The cut would only get worse as the fight continued, leaving Pena a bloody mess by the end of the final round. Pena nearly scored another upset in round 4. The now former champion pressed her foot against the fence and swung into an armbar. The submission attempt was deep, and Nunes fought hard to wrangle free. Besides a few submission attempts by Pena, Nunes utterly dominated the fight, and it was scored 50-45, 50-44, and 50-43 by the judges. The fight will go down as one of the greatest title fights in recent history and arguably the 2nd best women's title fight ever, only behind the 2020 fight of the year between Zhang Weili and Joanna Jędrzejczyk. With the win, Amanda became a double champ for the 2nd time and reinforced her position as the greatest women's MMA fighter of all time. We'll probably see a trilogy of this fight in the future, and it might be soon. Thank you for watching this video. That's all for now. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell.